Hey, yo. Who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, Rokas on peeps? J Pork's here. Why didn't I do that right before I went on? J Pork's here. We're back with a brand new episode of Dyze in your house. Here on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. It is public. Everybody can see it. I'm on for a couple of reasons tonight. One, my back hurts, and I moved the good chair to the living room, so I need to be in the living room. So I need to sit in this chair for a little while. So, I wonder if I have things to complain about. Ha, LOL. Of course I do. My name is Jason, and I'm here to do that. Got the computer open so I could waste everybody's time surfing the web. I'm not actually gonna do that. You're gonna be proud. I got notes. First of all, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are that of my own and do not represent that of my employer. They actually never have, and they never will. Because why the fuck would they? Fuck's my employer got to do with this? No, but in all seriousness, like this is me. I do my own thing. No, leave me alone. So, I do have some notes. Views and opinions expressed on this podcast, that of my own, do not represent that of my employer. Couple of reasons I wanted to hop on with you guys. Ooh, this is gonna hurt my back even more. And I'm spinning. No, I'm sorry, guys. As you know, if it's nighttime at the crib, it's iced coffee. Okay, let me get focused. Trying to so I was told, somebody gave me some tips and they were like, yo, you gotta BS for a minute or two and let people try to join. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I tried to do that. But I got notes. So let's get into, and again, I don't do here's the news of the week. Here's why shit sucks. Because here's the thing, spoiler, right? Shit sucks. Shit sucks because there was a random Tuesday in November that people decided to not go vote for Kamala Harris. Instead, they decided to be stupid or be stupid or be stupid. So everything sucks due to that. But I have a couple of bullet points here. First of all, dear all the people, first of all, speaking of social media and all that, and in general, I found somebody cool, new to follow. Anna Connolly is cool. That's her username on Instagram, and you can find all her links there. Informative, funny, palatable, digestible content that you should be sharing with people. Very funny, hilarious. So made sure to make a note there. I wanted to do that. So here's the thing, Republicans, right? Republicans, the fuck? Republicans have this thing where they're all about freedoms. And they want you to have your hands off their guns, all that stuff. They're about their freedoms and their state rights and all that stuff. And Texas is deep conservative, right? I know they're on I know they're a border state, so they're not exclusively white people, but they are extremely conservative. This week they banned weed and porn. I'm not sure if porn was this week. Porn was recently. They're together. So Texas has banned the sale of legal weed. A trend that is going the opposite direction in the country. Other states are doing it. Even states that don't want to do it realize, this is tax dollars left on the table. And who wouldn't want money? You know what I mean? Freedom, independent business. I have the right, freedom to smoke weed, freedom to watch porn. Isn't that what people want to do? Isn't that what some people want to do? And wouldn't Republicans defend that freedom? Like they would defend the freedom to be racist or something? Just saying. But stuff like that happens, right? Stupid shit like that. is done by stupid people as a result of stupid people being lazy and not voting or not caring, or rather, thinking Trump memes are funny and shit like that. But, listen, red hats, all that shit. Red hats are ruined. I see a red hat 50 yards away and I'm done. I posted the other day on Threads. I was like, if I owned a baseball team, I would change the uniform if my hat was red. Because red hats are like, I see them as a universal sign of hate. And like, people are all in my comment. Like, I didn't say teams should do that. I said, if I owned a team, I was making the point that this is how against this fascist, tech bro, crypto, crime syndicate I am against. Okay, that's how far I'm against them. I am not here to, reach common ground with people. I'm not here to meet people in the middle. We're way past that. Have you seen the bill? I'm not going to read the bill. That's not what my podcast is about. And you don't want to watch me stumble over big words for 17 minutes. But the point is and Threads has just become where the Russian troll farm tries out their new bots. Because I'll be going back and forth with some loser, and then I'll look at the profile, and it's follow 17 people, there's no original posts, only replies. People have social media to just reply to people and to not actually have an original thought of their own. I find that hard to believe. Feels like a Russian troll farm to me. So conservative things have fucking found their way over to Threads, and it's disgusting. And I actually am on record of saying that Threads was a psyop from the get-go to make liberals feel a little comfortable. That's what it was. That's what happened. And look at us now. So people replying to me I just want to tell you guys, and I'm sure nobody's listening, but anybody in my life who knows me, here's the thing, I come on the podcast and I share my thoughts, right? How many guests have I had? And that's not a shot at anybody. It's I was talking about Around the Horn the other day, a debate show about sports, and that's cool. Debating is, nice. Good for people that want to debate. If I ever run for office, I will make sure that I get my debate skills up. That said, I am not a debater. I share my thoughts. I give you the facts according to me, and I give you my thoughts, my opinions, and I'm not here to, engage with idiots, nor do I need to. Don't make my doom scroll worse. The fuck out of here. I'm not a debater, so there'll be key phrases, and that's how you'll be able to sense. Said I had 2 people watching, now I don't have anybody, but whatever, I don't care. So you'll have these key phrases that come up yo, fucking hate this guy, Trump, and they'll be what don't you like about him? If we're living in a world where somebody says, what don't you like about Donald fucking Trump, then that person is not living in reality, or that's not a real question, that's just something to piss you off. You see the trade deals? That's what they'll say. You see the trade deals? That's when they put on their I'm an economist hat. I'm Steve Ratner now. No, you're not. Yeah, I do see them. I see them. I said this last week. This time last year, I had the same job. This is not, I had the same job. I was in the same position. I was making the same money, and I was awesome. Now, I'm not, fucking, gonna be on the breadline yet, but I'm I'm finding myself with less money. And the reason I have less money is because shit is more expensive. Shit is more expensive because, spoiler, Donald Trump doesn't know shit about anything. But you knew that. So I need to debate people about that? No, I don't. And I'll give you one that you'll hear. This is I don't know, it's not Staten Island exclusive. Nothing is Staten Island exclusive because Staten Island is lame. But anybody that's never left Staten Island will say, paraphrasing, migrants ruin this country in some form of another. Like, there might not be that exact quote, but migrants ruin this country. I wrote down that quote and I credited people who don't leave the borough. That's what it is. And I'm telling you, I live on Staten Island. I don't drive by choice. Bus is like 50 feet away from my house. Get to work in 45 minutes and I work in downtown Manhattan. Point I'm trying to make is that I'm in these streets. I'm at the bus stops. I'm in the stores. I'm taking walks. I don't see migrants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see that. And then I go to Manhattan and I work in downtown Manhattan. And I also, you know, I'm at Port Authority because that's where I get the train. I don't see it. You know what I do see? New York sidebar really fast. You know what I do see that really gets me mad? Port Authority, right? Port Authority is a transit hub. Like, it's where there's a million buses that go there, trains leave from out of there, and people who are, like, coming from the airport and shit, they, you know, exit Port Authority and, like, you know, they're like there, that's where they come and go. Like, when I used to go to South Jersey, when I had the girlfriend in South Jersey, years ago, I used to fucking take the Bolt bus down to South Jersey, or sometimes I would just take a Greyhound or something, and I would leave from Port Authority. What I'm trying to say is, if you're coming to New York to visit, I'm glad you are. I love you. But at the same time, wait, Alexa, stop. So, if you're coming to New York to visit for the first time and you're coming here to spend money, see the sights, take the pictures, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. But, like, to have your 47 suitcases and your 6 family members standing right in front of the door to the Port Authority, where I have a train that's leaving in 37 seconds, and I have to find a way to not only get on that train, get down the stairs, get through the doors, get on that train, but before I get on that train, I have to figure out a way to not pay for the train, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I have to wait for somebody to exit the emergency exit, and then I gotta hope there's no cops there. And if there's cops there, I need them to, you know, be racist and let me go. That's what I need to happen. So I haven't been approached by police yet. I'm shocked as to why, you know. Fucking racist cops, man. Speaking of which, some of this bill is fucking gonna take money from cops. That's the end of my New York sidebar, by the way. If you're a tourist, that's cool. I don't hate that you're a tourist. But if you're figuring out, like, how to get to the hotel or whatever when you just left Port Authority, you can just cross the street or just not be near the door. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm in a rush. I'm in a rush. And I love you. I'm not one of these, you know, I hate people. No. People traveling, tourism, and immigration Americans don't have fucking money. You know what I mean? So we need immigration and tourism to get some money pumping into this fucking dead economy. And still on, like, the not being a debater thing. Like, I'm not a debater. So, like, if somebody's going to post their review of Jake Tapper's book, like, and I leave a comment that says, there's not any less that I can care about this. Like, there's not a less that I can care. And then we're going, like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, but yet you're here making weird comments. Like, my question would be, if you're somebody who calls themselves a liberal or a Democrat, no, not even a Democrat, a liberal, just liberal. If you're somebody that considers yourself not a Republican fucking Nazi douchebag, right? When you post something on social media, ask yourself, does this help Democrats? And I know what you're saying, Jay, you can't censor stuff. You can't censor what you say and your thought. And listen, I'm not telling you how to live your life. You do what you want to do. But Democrat, lib on lib crime. You know what I'm saying? Liberal on liberal crime on the internet, in front of people, by the way, in public, where people can see not only asshole Republicans that don't deserve to see us squabble and don't deserve that joy, but you know who else sees that? People that work at think tanks, that work on getting people elected, and specifically Nazis. So, again, like, to post a book review, like, I'm saying I don't give a shit because I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care about Jake Tapper lying in books. I don't care about his sources lying in books. I'm calling it fucking lies. And I don't care about any of that. And also, rando person A on Threads sharing it, like, does this help Democrats? Are you a news organization? Like, you're not. So, this idea, and again, if you think things need to be equal, then you don't know anything about the fairness doctrine, because the Republicans got rid of it. Do you see how Republicans can do two things at once? How they can hurt so many people and also win elections? Like, that's a Republican superpower. They're able to inflict so much pain on so many different groups through legislature, through culture wars, through words. They're able to do that while also winning elections. Democrats can't figure out how to, like, people say Dems need to message better, and then, okay, then, liberal B on Threads will be like, Dems, their messaging is bad. Here's why they suck. What is this? Are you helping? Are you helping? And if you think it's not about helping, then you're not paying attention. Because Democrats could focus on winning elections and winning narratives, and also what they try to do anyway, which is help people. Help people undo shit Republicans did in a previous administration and fix, try to fix things to be better. Now, you might say, Jay, Democrats suck. They never did anything. Listen, if I scratch a lottery ticket and I want to win, let's just say I buy a scratch off and the maximum, dollar amount is $100 I could win. I really want to win this $100. And, I buy that scratch off. And instead of winning $100, because I was told I got a good chance. That the ticket says I have a good chance of winning $100. I only won $52. Now, is that $52 worthless because I didn't get the full 100? No, it's not fucking worthless. You can still use that 52, and that $52 is more than the $0 you had when you bought the fucking scratch off. So I'm trying to say, just because every fucking politician you've ever seen doesn't check all 77 boxes of your fucking zodiac alignment on that day or whatever, that doesn't mean that both parties are the same. They're not. That's a dumb take. That's an L take. That is an L take. That's what the kids are saying. Speaking of not being a debater and kids, I had not a realization, but things happened. A couple of things happened, and it clicked in my mind a little bit more, a little bit added to why young people don't give a shit about the downfall of democracy, right? So I'm a retail manager, and I work with a lot of people who aren't as old as me. I'm almost 40. And there was like a meme or a link or something I wanted to send. And I'm like, let me send you this. This shit's funny. Because we were talking about something. Maybe the Knicks. Well, I don't want to talk about the Knicks. I do not want to talk about basketball. And the person says, can you show it to me on your phone? I'm like, why does it matter? And they were like, because it's going to mess up my For You section. Because I guess on TikTok, it's called For You, and I guess it's called that on Instagram too. The stuff they suggest to you, your For You page, right? Think about that. He didn't want to fuck up his own algorithm. So these 20-year-old kids, they're not dumb. They just repeatedly do dumb shit. We don't know why yet. I mean, besides that they're kids. Kids do dumb shit, right? But also, for a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, I don't know, fucking old, and it's universal amongst them. That's a thing. It's not like a one-person thing. Imagine they know not to fuck up their algorithm and then end up with shit they don't want to see. So, if somebody isn't political and they're scrolling TikTok with fucking, makeup tutorials and, reaction videos and whatever the case may be, and the 5% of learning that goes on TikTok, and they don't click on political posts because they're not interested in that. That doesn't pop up. So then they're not gonna get an Anna Connolly is cool, or a Sari Beth Rosenberg, or a Jess Craven, or an Under the Desk News. They're not gonna get these people in their news feed. But what they are going to get is Nazi shit, but framed in a way that makes the Nazis seem good. Because the guy who owns TikTok fucking likes Trump and is in bed with them and fucking put the thing on hold. And TikTok was a whole thing. It was a whole thing that they were going to ban TikTok. It was a scam. The guy that runs TikToks, they fucking said, don't ban it. And now the government's going to buy it. You know that, right? The government is going to buy TikTok. And then your For You feed is going to be presented by the fucking orange rapist presiding at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now. And the algorithm's gonna be all fucked up. But like, as someone who's almost 40, like, and has had Facebook for like over a decade and social media for so long, how many things have I fucking clicked on that have resulted in the person I am now because of the shit that I get fed? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the reason red hats are showing up in my threads is because the algorithm placed them there. They didn't place them there because they think I'm gonna like that. They placed them there because they know that's gonna invoke feeling in me based on things I've posted before. I don't know why they want to inflict bad feelings on me, but nonetheless, I'm not a debater. These little basement sessions, you see this shit popping up all the time. Communication is not arguments. People like those underground like debates. It's not underground, but like the set just looks underground. It looks like Fight Club, and it's on YouTube. I forget what it's fucking called. I wouldn't want to give a pub anyway. But the people are sitting in a circle and they got like flags and they raise up their flags when like the argument's over or whatever, when somebody won. And fucking like Pete Buttigieg went on there and was arguing with fucking Ben Shapiro or some shit. And like, it's just this arguing back and forth, and like, people say, yeah, you gotta do that because you gotta meet people in the middle, you gotta talk to people. That's not talking, that's performance art. That's fucking, if I wanted it, you know what I'm saying? That's a rap battle. That's a rap battle without the talent. That's what that is. That's a rap battle with no rhythm, no beat, and no fucking bars. Well, there might be some bars in there. But like, this whole idea that people debate. And again, Republicans don't fucking, when they say things like, what don't you like about it? Like, they're not trying to actually have the debate with you. They just want to move the conversation to a place that gets you angry. They want you to be mad, because you being mad makes them happy, because they're miserable every fucking day. And misery loves fucking company. That's why all these men are alone. See, that's the thing. And I do get my depressed, like, fucking weeks sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I'm single. I'm not alone. You know what I'm saying? Summer's coming. But, like, I'm not, like, oh my God, I'm not part of the male loneliness epidemic. Like, I love my shit. This shit is fun. After this, I'll probably play some NHL 2K14, not 2K14, NHL 14 on PS3 and indulge in something that Texas has outlawed. Texas. You can carry like 17 unlicensed guns in Texas, but they banned weed. All right, well, they banned the sale of THC products. I don't want people coming at me and saying, they didn't ban weed. You could still get it. You just gotta, insert how you do that here. All right. Before I get up on out of here, one more thing I wanted to say. Somber again. My last episode of the podcast was about the last episode of Around the Horn. And I watched that on Friday at work. I planned my lunch. I took my lunch a half hour later so I can be in front of the TV in the break room to watch the full final episode of Around the Horn. But before that, the night before, I recorded a podcast and had the fan on in my fucking window. And I am really like, it's almost I feel cringe watching it, listening to it. Like, I usually watch my podcast through at least once. But like, Around the Horn was one of the best shows on ESPN. It was my favorite show on ESPN. Again, sports is something that I use to distract myself. It's one of the things I use to distract myself from the craziness that is society. Now, whether that was, as a high school kid, picking up the sports pages, and watching Sports Center and wanting to be a sportscaster, wanting to be on the radio, like, or my shitty job, like, but I'm able to go home and listen to the overnight, on the radio, or like even, again, I don't want to talk about the Knicks, right? But like, I can't really listen to sports in these couple of days here. I have to wait. So, a lot of music getting played. You heard, Alexa, play. I have Lithium on Sirius playing because they were doing the top 50 of 1995. So I have that in the background playing because that's what I'm listening to because I can't watch TV. But Around the Horn, in terms of ratings, was like the number 2 show most days, behind PTI, pardon the interruption, which is in the 5:30 hour. So, like, and I'm talking a show, a network that has First Take, a network that has Pat McAfee. People know these people. And Around the Horn was, and it's funny that my Not a Debater episode ends with Around the Horn. It was sports debates, and they would score the argument. But again, here's the thing about sports and politics. Here's how they're the same. They're not. One is not real. One is a fantasy. Sports. Like, as mad as I can be about the Yankees losing last night to the Colorado fucking Rockies with 8 wins on the season, as mad as that makes me, that game did not result in any legislation being written to take rights away from people. So at the end of the day, it's really not that depressing. And politics is quite the opposite. So Around the Horn was a main staple, and it's been on over almost 25 years. Well, it almost reached 25 years. But the thing is that it got me through a point in my life, like, time I'll talk about another day. But like, there was a time where like I remember seeing like promotions for Around the Horn on like ESPN, and then I remember like seeing what the show actually was, and I was like, oh, and my dad's like, this show's. I'm like, Dad, what is this? He's like, sports writers arguing. It's pretty cool. I'm like, all right, cool, I like this, and it was, you don't get that without Mike and the Mad Dog. But again, it's a low maintenance show. Stephen A. Smith makes $100 million or whatever. Pat McAfee makes $100 million or whatever. Yeah, this show with newspaper writers who are just happy to make the, whatever they get paid, $500, whatever the fee is, to be on the show for a half hour. Like, I don't know what it is. $500 is, there's like but I know there's a set fee. I majored in journalism. And like, Tony Reale is like the host. He's a really nice guy, like in real life, like, and it sucked. It was a piece of like, not my childhood, but a piece of the last 20 years of my life, which is more than half of it. Like that went away. Stop kicking the table, chair. I keep turning. So that sucked. And like, so anytime you see, and the difference between like that show and other shows is like the forced arguments, right? I hate like we're trying to force an argument that we're arguing about something because we think people are gonna like watch it and share it and it's gonna go viral. Like Around the Horn really just did the headlines, and sports writers would give their takes on the headlines. They'd argue with each other about it. But it wasn't like, see them get heated. It wasn't like, let's see people get mad at each other. It was make the point. And again, ESPN, people say, oh, they canceled it because it became woke. I kind of believe that ESPN would have done that. But I also don't believe that that's what the show did. Again, if you like they score the argument, and if you win the episode, you get 30 seconds to say whatever you want about whatever story you want, uninterrupted. So, like, is it possible that over the years of, not having 4 panelists that are 4 white men, but instead, growing as a show and having different faces and voices on there, is it possible that, if there was a week where there was like a school shooting, that maybe a panelist decided to talk about that in their FaceTime instead of, LeBron James, for 30 seconds? That's not a show direction. That's reading the fucking room. And I've seen it on First Take, but you know who I saw do it on First Take? Fucking Chris Mad Dog Russo, that's who did it. Not any of the real First Take people, but the radio guy. Because at the end of the day, when you're in sports media, and when you play sports and when you cover sports, you are entertaining people. Not in a, put on a show for me, we pay for this. Not like in that, but it's to distract people, to take people away from their lives. But if there's something that is just so overtly egregious, people watching you are going to want you to say something. And they're going to want to see what side, what side are you on this? You know what I'm saying? And Chris Russo has had a couple of those moments on First Take where they just laid out and let him go a couple of minutes on like school shootings and shit like that. Like shit that would go on. It was Univlad, I think it was. It was crazy. But like, sure, First Take's not getting canceled because, Stephen A. Smith got his money. And ESPN's going to buy the NFL Network. I don't know how that works when Disney would love to sell ESPN. But nonetheless, maybe Stephen A. and Pat McAfee could chip in and they could fucking buy it together as they're planning their presidential ticket, for 2028. Those fucking assholes. God. So, quiz. What did we talk about today? What am I not? Not a debater. Who is cool? Anna Connolly is cool. And follow her on Instagram at Anna Connolly is cool. And you know what you should also do? Do this for me. Leave her a comment on her shit if you like it and be like, yo, Jason sent me. Be like, tag me, say, he sent me here. Because she's cool. She's funny, smart, got some good fucking content going. And also, like, if you're interested in, like, maybe, possibly, eventually getting an opportunity to save the country, like, when you're posting on social media, oh my God. When you're posting on social media, ask yourself, is what I'm posting right now going to help Democrats win an election? And if it's not, then ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I creating this discourse? Why am I not sending this content to my congressman or my, local political PAC, political organization, like somebody who can do something about it, but also not be fucking on the internet in public about it, where think tanks and Republicans can see and do research on us. Also, this right here. Let me back up. Boom. What's that? Cash App. Wanna know why it's Cash App? Because I only have 333 YouTube subscribers. 333 YouTube videos, yeah. That's a lot. That's good. I've had the page for like 15 years, so like it's actually not that good. But nonetheless, I have 333. In order to do any sort of monetization, to try to do that, I need to be at 500, it says. So therefore, I can't monetize these videos. But I can tell you what my Cash App is, and if you thought I was funny, you could toss me $1 so I can go buy lunch tomorrow. Oh, and what's the other thing I spoke about? Come on. Land of the free, home of the guns, home of the cowboys. Texas, it is illegal to buy and sell THC products, and it is illegal to watch porn. Or as, what's that fucking guy's name? Clarence Thomas. Wow, I can't believe I forgot Clarence Thomas's name. As Clarence Thomas used to call it in the late 80s, early 90s. Pornography. Pornography. And it's a Bill Hicks joke that I'm going to use to end the podcast. If you want to ban something, you should probably learn how to fucking pronounce it. J Porks, Dyze in your house. Please hit my Cash App. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Please be my friend. Let's do some shit. Let's save a country. The one we're living in. We'll worry about everyone else. We can only save others if we save ourselves. I cannot help somebody if I'm not mentally healthy. You know what I'm saying? I need to take care of me before I take care of you. So let's take care of us, then we'll take care of everybody. All right? Hugs.